All right, so today we're going to talk about trend lines to make predictions. So a lot of this is estimation, and a lot of this is data that they're either going to give you already graphed on the scatter plot, or they're going to put it in a table for you to graph. Okay, so a trend line is very close to most of the data points. That's as basic as I can get it. Okay, so some of these data points will be on top. Some of these data points may be on the line itself, and some of these may be below. But as long as your line best fits the data, it's a trend line. Okay, so we can use this data. We can use these scatter plots to predict future numbers. Okay, so sometimes you will be able to predict those future numbers solely based on what you see on the graph. And then other times you're going to have to create an equation for numbers that may not be included. So this only goes up to 20 and 50. Okay, and some questions they may ask for way beyond that that's not listed on this graph. So what if they ask for when the x value is 200? Okay, so we're not going to be able to estimate that just solely based on this graph that they give us now. So we're going to have to create linear equations, so y equals mx plus b, based on the information that they give us. All right, so the first one, I've plotted these coordinates for you. I just want to show you the trend line, how we would kind of draw that. So we've got the scatter plot positioned. Okay, all we need to do now is make a trend line. So roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect, so roughly we're going to get a straight line that kind of goes in between all of these dots. Okay, so start about where they start, go up through about right there. Okay, that best fits. You've got some on top, some on bottom, and it even has touched on 2 or 3 that's actually on the trend line. So, my question for you for this one is week 20. Week 20. Okay, sorry, these are weeks. This is weight, pounds. Okay, so what you're going to do is tell me, see, like at week 2 it was at 5 pounds, at week 4 it was at 4 pounds, at week 6 10, 8 is at 15. So we can have predictions of the future. So based on this, on our trend line at week 20, okay, roughly where do you think the weight is going to be? So at week 20, let's go to week 20. Okay, go up to our trend line, and at week 20 we have this position right here. Okay, so roughly it's probably somewhere in between 35 and 40 that we can predict. See how 35 is here, 40 is here. Okay, so roughly between 35 and 40 we can predict that the weight is going to be about that number. So I'm going to say for week 20, we're going to say about 40 pounds. About 40 pounds. Okay? So that's basically what you're going to do if you're able to see what they ask for on your graph. Make a trend line, find the spot that they're asking, and get a rough estimation. There's no exact numbers because this is, once again, it's an estimation of what the future has. Okay, so our second example, they have the trend line ready, and they've got all the ordered pairs graph for you, or the points plotted. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is create an equation using this trend line. Okay, so linear equations based on this trend line and these points, we're going to make a prediction. So the points that you use to make this linear equation doesn't necessarily have to be plotted, as long as these points are on the trend line that they give us. Okay, So the first point that I notice is 2, 6. Okay, it's on line. It goes through an intersection of these lines, of these grids. Okay, so 2, 6 is our first point. Okay, second one, I notice 4, 8. Okay, it hits on our trend line and it goes through the intersection of these coordinates. So it's easy to tell it sits right there. Okay, some of these that are in between may be decimals that we not a huge fan of, but if you're able to, you can use them. 4 and 8. So our second point, 4 and 8. Okay, remember when we're finding slope, our slope equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We've gone over that many times this year. Okay, so in order to find a slope, we need to plug these in. Remember, our ordered pairs are x, y. Okay, so this would be xy, xy. Okay, this is 1, 1, 2, 2. So this is x1, this is y1, x2, y2. And all I'm going to do is plug these into this equation. So y2 would be 8 minus y1, which is 6, okay, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 2. Okay, and all we're going to do is simplify that. 8 minus 6, 4 minus 2, 2 over 2. Okay, anything divided by itself gives me 1. Okay, so in this particular equation, okay, our slope is 1. So remember, y equals mx plus b, the slope-intercept form, our linear equations. So y equals, m is slope, we just found our slope was 1. Okay, but we don't necessarily have to put that 1 there, because what's the understood variable in front of x? Okay, that's 1. Alright, so b stands for our y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to find as close to where that trend line hits my y-axis. Okay, the y-axis, remember, is the vertical axis. So our trend line hits our y-axis about 4. Okay, so I'm going to put my y-intercept at 4. Okay, so my new equation is y equals x plus 4. Because our slope was 1, we don't have to put that 1 there. Our understood variable is 1 already. Been doing all that with. Okay. So, my question for you now is, when x is, let's say 200, okay, what is y going to be? So x, our x-axis only goes to 10. Okay, so we're not going to do a very good job of predicting 200 on this graph that only goes to 10. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our equation, our linear equation that we've made over here, y equals x plus 4, and plug in your x. So y, okay, our x, instead of having the variable x, we're going to plug in 200. Okay, because we're trying to figure out what is y when x is 200. Okay, so plug in 200 to x and continue the equation. Okay, this one's pretty simple. When x is 200, y is 204. Okay? Alright, if you have any questions, let me know.